Welcome back to the fight of the century, or at least last week. It's the final of Chicken Wars 2018. I'm your commentator, Dave Turtle, and the battle tonight is really heating up. Beautiful smell of roast chicken in the air. It's all come down to these two teams, the Cluckers versus the Peckers, and it really could be anybody's game. Now, earlier on in the day, I went down to the arena and I spoke with the Peckers head coach. Here's what she had to say. So, Penelope, when the arrows are flying in there, how do you keep up team morale? Oh, I see. Have you got anything that you'd like to say to the opposition? Oh, okay, sorry about that. I do apologise about the language there, viewers. You can tell things are getting very tense down here. I'm hearing right now that we can take a look at the results of the opinion polls. So here they are, more than 1,000 people voted, and as you can see, it's a very close call here, but Team Cluckers is the crowd favourite. Very interesting stuff. I think we have enough time here quickly to take a look at some of the highlights too. Wow, edge of your seat action there. I do believe it's now time, though, to head over to Zedaph, who is just about to check on the final result. Hello, and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server with me, Zedaph. How are you doing today? We are here, of course, at the final of Chicken Wars 2018. Intro bit, by the way. It's probably taken me the longest of any intro bit I've ever done. Anyway. Oh, there's some action going on right now. Some chickens dying. There noticeably looks like there are more chickens on the Cluckers team than there are on the Peckers team over here. In fact, I'm actually quite surprised that there's any chickens left at all. I was worried that they would have just all died. Yeah, but it seems to have balanced quite nicely, I think. I don't know, I'm quite impressed. So, without further ado, I've kept you in suspense long enough. Let us find out which team... Oh, they're getting in some last-minute points. Which team has officially won the Grand Championship here? So the idea is you want less cooked chicken on your team. That means you win. If you have the less cooked chicken, it means less of you have died. Okay, here goes. Right, that's empty, and that's feathers. So they have no bodies. That doesn't sound right. And that's empty too. What's happening here? Okay, hang on a minute. Oh, I know what it is. It's the filters. I never filled the filters up properly. That has 41 roast chicken in. Interesting. Okay. And that has 39 roast chicken, which means this team has less. This team has got less chicken deaths. So what team's that? The Peckers. The Peckers won against all the odds. They were 45% of the voters' favourite choice. But no, they won anyway. Go Peckers! Go Peckers, go. Even though, hang on, there's... Oh, that's why there's less of... No! What? There's less of them and they're winning. There is definitely less, right? There's noticeably left. Okay, interesting. Well, we'll keep this experiment going for a little bit longer. Hopefully we'll actually start getting some usable food out of this thing, as it is a farm. After all, remember everybody now, remember. This is a farm, of course, for efficiency purposes and reasons and stuff like that I make farms for. Very, very important. But today we are going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to be making another farm. We did a mushroom farm, then a chicken farm. We've been farming it up all over the place lately. We are going to get into... the lake. No, not the lake. We're going to get into trains. And not just any trains. We are going to get into personal Zedaph trains. Trains for Zedaph to ride. After the success, and I call it a success just because I'm really happy with it, of our underground cargo system here that goes around and collects... Hey, I got some sugarcane. And that goes around and collects all of the drops from all the farms of the Lake of Life. And automatically brings them up to the base. I'm really happy with how this turned out. But you know what? I'm a bit jealous. I'm jealous that all this cargo has such a fun time going around all this track, and we had to come up with all these kind of fun little interchange, amazing redstone-y stuff of brilliance to try and deal with all the logistical problems and that. And yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jealous that I don't get to even try this thing. It all happens behind the scenes. And you know what? I don't like using my legs either. Legs are boring. Quite often I'll find myself either flying with rockets somewhere, flying with ender pearls. I mean, you know, just throwing them to get around. I don't like walking places. And, you know, my base is relatively spread out now. I've got Lake Honk over there. I've got my crystal caves way over here. Stress monsters now sleeping. So many things like that. And I have to keep walking around, but I don't. I fly an ender pearl, and it is a waste of materials. So we are going to build a brand new rail system that is for me, that I can ride around. And it will take me to wherever I want in the base. And hopefully it will have some fun little complicated problems to solve, such as this junction here. And we can try and fix them together, or it will just completely fail and we will look stupid. But first thing with any project, we need to get into the planning stage. So I've got myself a nice top-down shot of my base area, and I've labelled some bits as well. You can see here's the crystal caves down here. There is the Lake of Life there with the majority of the farms labelled around. Lake Honk way up in the top right over there. Mushroom Farm is in a cave under the ground there. Horse stable, things like that. So this should help us plan where we're going to have our rail line. You can either do a rail line like a back and a forth kind of thing, like that. This is going to show my amazing artistic skills. Or you could have a looped thing. Again, though, it could go both ways. You could have a loop within a loop. Like that. Let me just get rid of all that horrific drawing. So I think we're going to go for a loop track. So I'm going to start off at the crystal caves. And I'm going to go underground to roughly where the mushroom farm is. So circles are going to mean stations. And then we're going to come up over ground and appear just here next to the pumpkin farm. Back down underground again to Lake Honk, somewhere over here. Then this is going to come up, go underground, and just be next to our chicken farm there. Back underground to this side of the Lake of Life. And then back to the base. So you can see it's roughly a square, or circular track, and we're going to try and have it to go both ways. So no, it will use one track that will loop all the way around, but you can get on and get off it in any direction, and hopefully, depending on your direction of travel, it will mean that you can go in both directions of travel. Each area, each station is going to have to be a specially designed piece of redstone contraption to be able to handle people coming in from both ways, as well as passing straight through or potentially stopping. So we have definitely got some redstone troubles to try and work with. I'm also just going to draw a little moustache and some spiky hair on this guy, because why not? Initial plans set in stone there. Let's grab our redstone box and our rail box there and go to our testing area to do a little bit of testing. Let's try and make this as a single component. Hopefully, we should, just like our Lake of Life collection system one, once we've made one station component, we should just be able to repeat that, and it will handle traffic incoming from both directions. See, again, look, I'm having to use my legs. Right now, prime example of leg usage action going on here, and I'm not happy. Oh, I'm not happy about it one little bit. I'm even having to jump. Oh, this is crazy. In this day and age, shouldn't have to use my legs at all. That happens sometimes as well. See, if I was in a minecart right now, I wouldn't be falling to my near death and almost pooping myself. The amount of underwear I have to go through, purely because I haven't got a personal transportation rail system, it's unreal. Anyway, floating tree, that means we're close. Here is our little clearing of testiness. Might need to come up with a new name for it than that. So, let's get started. Let's plop our bits down, and hopefully we can get going. So, rails. We're going to have a big incoming rail like this, and we want to be able to exit at the particular stop. So let's say this in the middle here is one of our stations. First off, if we don't want to stop here, we should just be able to go straight through, right? That is, oh look, hey, that's nice. That zoomed in. There's a little carrot shack over there. Very lovely. What a view. Yeah, if we don't want to stop here, we shouldn't have to. We should just flow straight through both directions. So that is one. If you do nothing, you go straight through the station. But if you want to get off here, we can use some activator rails to activate, and that should kick you out of the minecart if they're powered, right? So we need to somehow power these. And I was thinking, if you're coming past here, you don't want to hit like a tiny little button or something like that, right? Buttons are teeny tiny and kind of hard to hit. I can't even hit them when I'm just standing still, let alone if I'm like, yeah, like that. In fact, let's get a cart and give it a try. I bet you it's very difficult. Well, I'm going quite slow, aren't I? Nah. Well, it does kick you out at least. That's good to know. But yeah, I want something a little bigger than that. So I was thinking maybe a trapdoor. We actually use a trapdoor, and then we observe it with an observer. And why did I pick up all the track? Hopefully that will trigger it. So let me have a little play around and see if I can get that kind of thing working. Are you watching closely, Mr. Observer? With that little frowny face of yours. Okay, right, so we have our trapdoor here. Observer looking at it. That goes into the block, into the dust, down here, into the repeater, into that block, which powers this. So if we do it, boom, you'll see that that activates relatively quickly. My only issue is the trapdoor doesn't flap back. Like, it just stays like that. And now this is kind of hard to hit. Whereas this is a lovely target if you're in a minecart along here. So we need to somehow re-flap the trapdoor back down again every time. But the issue with that is, this triggers whether you flap it up or whether you flap it down. So when we manually flap it down, it's going to kind of create a little bit of a clock. So we're going to have to kind of deal with that situation. I don't know how we're going to fix that yet, but we'll come to that later. So let's see if this actually kicks us out. We've got a little test here. Whoa, why did I get pushed? Like that, and flap, and no. Okay, so I think we need to extend our this distance just a little bit here. These should link together. Let's test that. Yep, they all go. Okay, excellent. So now if we jump in, there's a much bigger area of kick-outableness. Perfect. It took us out at this station and the cart carries on. We're going to have to make the cart go into like a loading bay or something if we're not in it. So there's going to have to be some more shenanigans going on. I guess we're going to have to do that both sides. Oh dear me, this is getting more complicated than I thought. Okay, fix the flap, do the other bits as well. And I have just noticed you can just, you know, shift. You can just press shift to get out at your stop instead of this whole flap door situation. I kind of like the flap door situation though. I don't know. I'll have a little bit of a tinker. If I can manage to fix it, make it work, then we will probably stick with that. Because, to be honest, then that means this whole minecart system is keyboard-free. You can just look around using the mouse and right-click, rather than have to press shift. Who likes pressing shift? That is a waste of a little pinky maneuver. I think our flap problems are solved. Let me just run this through with you. So at the minute how I've got this set up is this reads whether it's been flapped or not, and that basically goes into a torch. So currently we want that torch on by default, right? Because this is a powered trapdoor. We want it down like that. But when we manually push it up, that's going to trigger the whole system. And at the end of the system, when it's all finished and done, this torch will come back on, thus opening the trapdoor again, right? That's how we want it left. But when we do this, it kind of creates like a clock, like I was talking about, which eventually burns out, and that is not what we want. So we're going to have to add in a little extender clock like this, so that the deflapping system... Stop it! You stop it now! Okay, like that. That should stop it. The deflapping section of the circuitry here, we want to happen whilst everything is still being powered, right? It's a bit complicated, but work with me here, right? So this is one of these extenders. As soon as this block under here gets powered, the redstone goes round and round and round here, and it loses one every time. We've used this circuit a lot. It's one of my new favorite circuits, and it just kind of eventually runs down. It's about, I don't know, 3 seconds or so of power. And instead of just having the circuitry go straight into here, we want to add a 1-tick pulsey thing, so that this only gets powered when... when power comes through, it triggers, but when power turns off, it doesn't trigger. That's the trouble with these observers, right? Is that it powers where... It doesn't know whether... It doesn't care whether this is on or off. It triggers on both of the changes. I think that's got a name, but I don't know the technical term for it. Okay. So if we pop this down here like that, this is the old-fashioned one-block ticky thing. So not only is this going to get extended, but once, right at the beginning, it's going to quickly pulse this torch, which is going to reflap the flap. Right, so this should just work. Boom. It reflaps it down, but this is still powered. We can then just take a nice little redstone line off of here into our activator rails, and that should power those for quite some time. The circuitry up here resorts out the trapdoor, and by the time this all goes off again, the trapdoor's already down, right? You'll see that this does actually trigger twice, but because this is still redstone lit up, it doesn't re-trigger it because it's still lit up. So this repeater, look, is going to flash twice. Once, 2, 3. Oh, it actually goes 3 times, but it doesn't actually change anything because the circuitry is still all powered. So it works. Flat problem solved. Perfect. Okay, next issue we want to work out is we want to make it so that when we're not in a minecart, the minecart kind of goes over here and gets collected, and the same over this side goes over here and gets collected. But if we are in the minecart, we obviously don't want it, and we want to carry on riding both directions. So that is the next problem to solve. Okay, so it doesn't actually look like you can detect whether a cart has a person in it or not. There are some detector rails underneath both of these. This one's lit up because there's a cart on it. This one isn't lit up, and if I get in, it doesn't light up. This is only good for cargo. If there's a container in there, and obviously if I get in here, that still stays powered. Whoopsie. So I think instead of detecting whether the cart is empty, we're going to have to detect whether the cart is full, i.e. when I'm in here, right? And I can trigger things with my body, with my face. So I think we're going to use some tripwire hooks to detect whether I am in here or not. If we build up a little thing at head height, let's just quickly double check that this is going to work. If I do something like this, why can't I build properly? And we go like that, and like this. Not like that. That's the wrong thing. Boom. So it's not powered, and when we are in it, it does power it. Perfect. Okay, so that's what we're going to want to do. We're going to want to flip-flop these so that by default they are facing inwards to the cart collection system. Obviously, this one we're going to have to invert by default, so that when we come along here, we hit the tripwire hook, which will reset this to make us go forwards instead. But if we're not in the cart, if we've already got out, then it's going to make the cart go and get collected over there. That is the plan now. Time for a test. Okay, right, let us go through. We're not going to hit anything. We want to ride straight through this station this time. Not hitting anything. La la la. Beautiful, that works. And back the other way, not hitting anything at all. Beautiful. It's a little bit slow, but that's okay. Now we want to try and get out at this station, heading this way, which should mean our cart goes off this direction over here. That should hopefully work. So we're going to hit the thingamajig. It spits us out. The cart didn't go that way. Okay, all right. Interesting. Let's try it the other way. And we're going to hit this thing. And, okay, the cart did go that way. So maybe I didn't hit this quick enough. Maybe we need to slow the whole thing down a little bit. Let me try again. Okay, so we go in. I'm going to try and hit the tripwire, the trapdoor nice and quick. Okay, it did go that way. Good, phew. Okay, we're just going to have to play with the timings a little bit, maybe make some delays longer, or something like that to try and, or maybe make some delays shorter. I don't know. But ultimately it works. So this one, like I say, is default. It's going that way. This one, default, is going that way. But when we hit the tripwire hook here, this one is a 2-tick delay. It just powers it so that we go straight across. And this one by default is powered, but when we hit it again with a 1-tick, 2-tick delay, it just flips the track around. So yeah, ultimately this works. We just have to play around with the timings a little bit. Then the cart over here, I want to go and get some cactus and pop the cart, put it into a hopper, and make those available somewhere. In fact, I was even thinking, what if we had a dispenser like under here or something? That's going to get powered, isn't it? Where's a dispenser? Yeah, if we have a dispenser, oh, maybe we just put it straight in the floor like that. We could have maybe like a little button over here. Why have I not got anything I want? A button like that. If we have the carts from both sides automatically feed back into that dispenser, then whenever we want, obviously there'll be carts in there like that. Whenever we access this station by foot and we're like, I want to get in this station, we put a thing there. Oh, okay, that powers that. That's strange. We jump in the cart and we just pick a direction that we want to go. And then we go that direction. And then we're on the system. So that would be quite nice. I'm going to go and pick our first location and install a real version of this and try and get maybe a little bit more a little bit more reliable and maybe a little bit more smaller, compact and that as well, just to see if we can kind of tighten it up a little bit and make it a little bit smoother. Oh dear. Okay. Slight issue. Yeah, this is what happens when you only put like a stack and a little bit of arrows in here and it runs out. So your farm that was very nicely balanced apparently is now no longer killing any chickens and it's breeding a lot of chickens. Yeah, let's check these out now. 6 in there, okay, and 25 in there. Wow, Peckers, you are really doing well now. Well, not that that really matters because both of them are now just overpopulating. So I kind of semi-disabled stuff back here. You'll see there are eggs everywhere. I've just turned these bottom egg ones downwards. So it's just going to spit the eggs straight out and it's not going to repopulate. It's not going to kill any either until we can maybe figure out a way to turn this machine off if we run out of arrows. And we just need to go get some more arrows and restock it and have like a better, you know, double chests full of arrows up there so that it always has arrows. But until then, this thing can just stay clicking and clucking like that. But anyway, we have built our first station over here. It doesn't look very pretty right now. We're going to prettify it up in just a little moment. I've done a few little changes here and there. We've got the cactus things in that pops the stuff. I think the best thing to do is really just to see it in action. So we're gonna keep that open for now so that we can see in there. I'll just quickly right click that. You'll see that it all flashes very, very nicely. When I touch this one, the track changes there. When I touch this tripwire, the track changes there. It's all good to go. So the best thing to do, yeah, is just give it a full-on test. So let's just ride straight through the station, not do anything at all. We go straight through, very nice, and back again, straight through the other way. Beautiful. Very, very nice. Now, this time we're going to try to depart, and we want our cart to automatically get taken back into the system. Okay, here goes. So I'm going to right-click the thingy, like so. In it goes, pops in there, and it reappears back in here. So if I grab a button, we can now pop the floor here. Button there, so we're just like, We walk in, we're like, oh, I want to catch a train. Do. Pop. Oh, there's one in there. Perfect. And then we can just ride off into the sunset. We can go this way, and then we'll test it coming this way. Wait, did I do this the right way around? Yeah, we didn't test it accessing from this side, did we? So we go up, and we right-click the thing. It drops us off. Cart goes back in, and it's ready in there for another day, another use. We can have multiple carts in there, and the hoppers can be backed up a little bit. If we ever run out of a minecart, maybe we'll add like a little bonus chest or something. Not a bonus chest, a backup chest over here. So if we ever hit this button, and we come in, and we go like, boop, and we're like, oh no, there's no carts in here. We'll have a few backup carts that we can ride anyway. So that's working. I'm very, very surprised that it's actually working. So we can copy this wherever we want, wherever those 6 things were, which you can see on the map right now. We built the one here next to the chicken farm. And yeah, the only thing left to do now is to try and make this a little bit prettier. You'll notice that I tried to keep relatively the blocks around the track here free so that we can actually put blocks there. There is no redstone blocking our path. But yeah, if I just chuck some pretty blocks in, hopefully we can see that majoritively this is well hidden. And there it is. One finished train stop. We can copy that another 5 more times, connect them all up, and we can add more if we need to in the future. Nice little design there. Pretty pleased how it turned out. Everything worked relatively straightforward, so very happy about that. That is going to be it for today's episode. Thank you very, very much for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. Whatever you did to help this episode out, I very much appreciate it. And of course, a massive thank you to my wonderful, wonderful patrons whose names are on the screen right now. They are making your screen even prettier by being there. Thank you to each and every one of you for helping make this episode possible. But until next time, a good-bye.